So, herzlich willkommen, Interpack TV live, jede halbe Stunde frisches Programm und Sie sehen bei uns, hier sind Sie, alles leer, alles verwaist in unserem gläsernen Studio, denn auch das machen wir dieses Jahr. Wir melden uns aus einer anderen Halle. Wir wechseln sozusagen die Perspektive, geben jetzt rüber in Halle 11 zu Hermann Ultraschall. Freuen uns sehr auf eine Diskussion, auf ein sehr spannendes Panel auf Englisch, Automation, Smart Service, No Headache. Es geht sozusagen um die Frage, wie Unternehmen die immer komplexer werdenden Produktionstechniken beherrschen können, wie sie trotzdem die Kontrolle behalten können. Sehr namhaft dieses Podium besetzt. Dagmar Glanz vom DM Drogeriemarkt ist da, Thomas Reiner von Bernd und Partner, Vertreter von natürlich Hermann Ultraschall und Olaf Clemens von SN Maschinenbau. Also, wir sind nicht lange auf die Folter spannen. Es ist auf Englisch, das Video danach auch zum Abruf auf packagingjournal.de und interpack.de, das sage ich Ihnen jetzt schon mal. Und jetzt rüber zu Matthias Laux in Halle 11. Fangt an.
Hello and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the show. Welcome to our second live podcast here at Interpack 2026. Smart service, no headache. That's the topic. Let me start with a simple reality check. In today's production environments, machines are getting more powerful, more connected, more intelligent, right? But at the same time, teams are getting smaller and expertise is harder to find. So the real challenge is not automation itself. The real challenge is how do you make high-tech actually work in everyday operations? Because one thing is clear, technology only creates value if people can use it reliably, efficiently, and without constant friction. So today we want to explore how to reuse complexity instead of adding more, and how to keep control in highly automated systems. And how smart service, digital tools, and strong partnerships can turn into complexity. Let me introduce our panelists. Dagmar Glatz from DM. Ms. Glatz, thank you for joining us today. Dagmar, because you represent the user side, you've said from a recyclability perspective, you are not particularly fond of adhesives, right? So can you explain why adhesives are such a challenge for circular packaging?
Of course, thank you for the invitation. Well, if we have material in the cycle, which we don't like to have inside, and adhesives are very polar, which makes complex problems, which we would have to get rid of later on. It would be more intelligent to avoid those adhesives, and we have a technique here which can help us.
Okay, great. We will talk about that later on. I'm delighted to welcome Olaf Clemens from SN Maschinenbau. You are building increasingly complex machines, right? So how do you balance innovation with usability?
Yeah, of course, thank you very much for the invitation here and taking place of this panel. It's a big challenge for a machine builder like us. All the demands for quick changeovers, for higher outputs, and running monomaterials are very high. And we need a certain technology for this. But on the other end, we need to keep the machines also easy to operate and getting same OEEs or even better hires, because we have to grow there as well. And that's the challenge of a machine building company.
Okay,
right for now.
Okay. I like this perspective. We will talk about that later on.
Sure.
Thank you very much for joining us today. And I am very delighted to welcome Robert Huber. He is from Hermann Ultraschall. Robert, high tech only creates value if it can be controlled, right? So what does that mean in practice in your eyes?
Yeah, so also welcome to our booth here. We are very happy to be able to host. So keeping high tech or getting high tech in a shape so that we can benefit from it, that we can get customer value out of it, we need to understand what is the customer value. We need to understand the strengths of the technology and then encapsulate the technology in a way that the complexity is controlled and the benefit is available for the customer in production automatically.
Okay, and how it can be controlled too.
Sorry?
So, and that's the way it can be controlled, right?
Yes.
Okay, I see. And I'm very delighted to welcome Thomas Reimer from Bernd und Partner. He has a broader strategic perspective on the industry, right? So looking at the market overall, are we over-engineering automation today? What do you think?
Well, if engineers do automation, of course we over-engineer because we just love technology and we do the best we can. I remember when I started my business life, I heard a quote that I liked forever. If technology becomes a master, we shall reach disaster much faster. but now to be serious, no, I think complexity we cannot avoid. We need to manage complexity. And I think automation is a key to manage complexity. And in the end, maybe even get more simplicity when we manage complexity for those that apply it.
Okay, interesting. But where do you see the biggest gap between what is technically possible and what companies can actually handle operationally?
When we talk about equipment, we always talk about machine, material, and the man or the person on the machine. I think one of the challenges that we have is both enough people to run the machines, but also skills and competence of the people that run the machines. I think especially for European machinery builders, if we have sophisticated solutions, we need to make sure that they're so easy to handle that people with a limited qualification can handle without headache. And I think if we face this challenge, it will help in two ways. It will help the customers that we have. And at the same time, it helps the machinery companies, the automation companies, because the value they sell will happen.
Okay. I'd like it that you take the topic, no smart service, no headache. So we all have to think about how smart service can look like. Olaf Clemens, at what point do you say this feature is technically possible, but no helpful for the customer?
Yeah, I can only confirm, engineers like technology, always and all over the world. The challenge we're having there is really we try to find some USP, some added value from the machine building aspect, and that works in today's world with a little bit more technology and especially with software. And the challenge is a little bit, we engineer it faster than we make it available, let's say, for the normal standard operator or anywhere on this globe, in these different markets. And so you bring sometimes technology too early into the market, but there's also a certain need to do this, because you have to run these structures, films, products, and so on, without having the 100% proven technology behind. So you need a quite good operator, which makes then the difference. If you have this rocket engineer, everything is running perfect. If not, then we are back to the disaster.
Dagmar Klatz, in your recent book talking about technical solutions, you describe how DM has reached around, I think it was 46% post-consumer recycled material in its packaging. So that's a significant achievement. But what were the biggest operational challenges in getting there, and why did complexity in the system really become visible?
Well, what we face at the moment, we have the PPVR, and that's a big challenge for all of us, and also a very complex challenge. And what we found out, we are talking about automatization, but what we forget sometimes to automatize is the data. So we need more digitalization. And this is what we did at the DM Drogeriemarkt. We are a drugstore retailer, and we published the recycled material content at the point of sale to the consumer. And how could we do this? Because we had the data. So we found a system together with the GS1, maybe you don't know it, that's the company which is making the barcode on every product you buy in the shops. And there you find nowadays the data like recycled material content. So if we would buy a product or a packaging from your company, or you would be one pre-supplier in the chain, you would have to supply the data. And we all know at the moment, how do we get the data? A lot by PDFs, by email, also bare phone, and that's not the way we can work in future, and that's not the way how we can work when we have to bring all the data for the PPVR. So I think that's the biggest leveler we have at the moment, to get standardization for data and to make it more digital.
Yeah. Robert, how can these data-driven business, how can digital tools, service and automation, how can all this help to reduce complexity, not to increase it, regarding ultrasonic welding?
Yeah, very good question. So we have learned over the past years that it's very important to get out of the pain of finger pointing. There's a lot of finger pointing potential if we introduce new technology into packaging machinery. So what we have as a solution for that is that we take the ownership. We take full ownership for the result of that station. And this ownership leads to a safe environment. So the production guys can run the machine. The machine produces, in our case, also a lot of digital data. So our generator is 100% digital. So our station delivers the data that we need, that we can give into the AI. Number crunching, big data style, and then learn from trends that we can observe about the health status of the system. So it's a very let's say exciting moment to observe with AI, the advantages that we see.
Talking about AI, Thomas Reiner, we often talk about digitalization, AI and all this, but where do these tools really reduce complexity, or where they add new layers instead of reducing?
Yeah, I think like everything, it depends on whoever uses a tool.
Okay.
But I would re-emphasize, I don't think it's about reducing complexity, it's about managing complexity. And in
that's
this
a good
term,
point. Yeah.
AI can deliver a significant value in managing complexity. And I would also like to come back to what Dagmar said. I think that data management and transparency is one of the first rewards that we get from all the regulation. Because if we understand what we do and what the impact is in a holistic way from battle to grave, then we understand from battle to grave, from cradle to cradle. Sorry, one is the reality right now, but the other one is what we are thinking about, cradle to cradle. Then we understand the impact, and then we can manage it. I would say for the big FMCG companies, this is the number one topic. Sometimes I'm concerned how far behind some of them are. But eventually, with the reporting systems, we'll be able to have a transparency we've never had before. And AI will help us to use this transparency.
Okay. So this is one of the key topics here at the Interpack for you?
Yes, that's what we see in our everyday life. At the Interpack, I wouldn't be the person to say what the key discussion on Interpack is, but I feel comfortable to say industry-wise, this is a number one discussion.
Okay.
And if we don't handle this, everything else will not work.
Okay.
Can I add something?
Of course.
Okay. So I think also what is going on when I'm looking on our packaging portfolio is that the complexity of the packaging is reducing. Why? Because we want recyclable packaging, and multi-layers does not work like we had it in the past. So of course, if we want also to have PCR in the packaging, we have to know, okay, which material do we use, where does it come from, and so on. So it's going back a little bit to the roots. Packaging, I think it's getting more simple than it has been in the past. And we are reducing the materials, we're reducing the layers, we're reducing just everything. At least we do it at the moment, but we are discounter. I think there is also a gap maybe to more luxury packaging.
Maybe I'm adding also something to it. What we are seeing is, for example, we're in the pouch business, or flexibles, and of course we are working with, let's say, a monostructure like polypropylene, and then with 10 different vendors of fill materials. On the paper, everything is the same. In the machine, they all behave in a different way. Yeah? And we're discussing with a lot of companies digital printing programs that we get really a tech from the films, a digital tech, which structure is there really, how are the thicknesses over lengths of rolls, which we can load into our equipment, monitor it there, adapt ceilings, adapt frictions, and so on.
Yeah.
And so then technology is in the background for the engineers quite complex, but it helps the operators to operate equipment quite easy. So we have to decide, is the complexity there for the end user, for the people which operates and need to get products out, or for the engineering from these companies which are in the background and make it happen. And I believe there we have to make the difference.
But where do machine builders still make things unnecessarily complicated? What do you think? Is there a point?
Yeah, it's a fair point.
No, I don't know. It's a question.
No, it's a fair point. Yeah, you look into a thing, and you try to invent something which is not there. And then engineers are looking, first of all, for themselves into it without connecting to customers, or companies which have the products itself, which has to be packed and so on. And then you're a little bit in your own world and you're not working in a wide network. And so there are coming things out of these engineerings which are maybe not really necessary. Yeah. In round 2, you X them out later on.
Okay.
Yeah. Also on cost base.
Can I build on this?
Yes.
So far, we spoke about complexity, machines, automation. Dagmar brought up a different topic, complexity on specifications of materials. Now, if you look at a flexible converting company, if you have a turnover of maybe 1 billion, you're going to have 2,000 to 3,000 different specifications, recipes. And the question is why? Now, we investigated a company a little smaller than this, but same pattern. And they also had a web shop. And in the web shop, you cannot offer 2,000 specifications, just won't work. So all they had on the web shop was a dozen specifications. And here comes the key question. How many product requirements of the standard portfolio could I handle with the 12 specifications? They had 880 specifications. So 1,000 against 10, complexity. How much of the product requirement could be dealt with of the ordinary business? 98%. And the reason is that we do have the complexity because we always optimize individual cases for machine runnability, for the perfect product stability and everything else. So every step makes sense, but the overall picture makes no sense. And if you ever go and see a sorting technology and you see what it means to work this complexity backwards, it's a disaster. So Dagmar, I 100% agree on product complexity when it comes to packaging. It just doesn't need 10% less, it needs 95% less. And this can happen. And machinery companies will find the answers to get runnability, efficiency out there. I pass on my tons of things in my heart.
Yes, Robert, I think it's...
This was a perfect bridge. Thank you, Thomas. So what's on my heart since a long time is more standards. We all talk about the costs. Can we afford the sustainability? We need a positive business case. But with all these super complexity out there in the film structures, we will come nowhere. And my question is, can we work together? Can we reduce specifications and come to standards and packaging systems, more packaging systems? That's what's on my aim. Because the circular economy, we need it. There's no alternative to it, and we need to prepare the way to affordable sustainability in the industry.
Okay, what's your?
I can give you a sample where it already worked out. It's the shampoo bottle or the shower gel bottle. When I started in 2019 at DM, we had PP and HDPE bottles. And nowadays we only have HDPE bottles. Why? Because we have no recycled material for PP bottles. That's the reason. So everything goes to HDPE, and I think that will be the same with every material stream we have right now. It's the question of the PCR. Do we have one? Yes or no? If we don't have PCR, it will not exist any longer.
Agree as well. Yeah, making it easier. Single cases is also the point. Yeah, if we look into a lot of food products, we are doing a lot in food and in pet food. We are always talking about shelf lives. Yeah, and people from the history, they think this product needs to have a shelf life from 2 years. Why? Yeah, if we simplify this a little bit and go down, let's say, from 24 months to 18 months, then we come even to a wider range where we can use the same materials for different application, and that takes also complexity out. Why does need, for example, a pet food pouch 2.5 years shelf life? Yeah, that is a good question to ask. Yeah, you're buying for your pet, for your cat, or whatever, a food today, and you would like to feed them within the next 2 weeks, 2 months or so, but I'm not buying it for in 3 years' time. Yeah, yeah. And if we simplify, take barriers out, because it's not only the basic material itself, or it's also very much about the barriers in films to protect the product inside. And we play there a little bit more with care, then we have an earning as well.
Okay.
I have one more point here. So in 18 years of observing the packaging industry and being a provider of innovative technology, I see marketing is in many cases also hindering innovation, hindering standardization, because they always need a kind of a difference. And we have just a crazy experience made in the past year is with those films with a matte kind of finish. Yeah, so in these colors there is silicate content, and this is like sandpaper. Yeah, and this starts to tear down the tools really quickly. And so we also need to look into this area, the marketing, and start more collaboration and coming close together to get to overcome that hurdle. Because I understand that marketing wants to make a difference, but then we need to overcome that hurdle together.
Yes, yes.
Now, packaging has to serve many masters, and every master has his own requirements. And I think what Robert says is right. Sometimes marketing expectations, they can find other answers than just changing the surface of the material. But out of all the masters, I think that the supply chain and technology is the biggest enemy. It's a cost optimization of individual cases. When I go back to my example, and I could bring up many other examples of this flexible converter, I said for the product protection, we could do 98% of our standard business with 12 different specifications. For consumer experience, it would be nearby. And if it would be 80%, because most of those specifications, the consumer is not going to recognize. It's more cost optimization, efficiency optimization on individual cases. And when we go into the sites of those brand owners, we see that downtime on the machines is forever. We try to be as fast as possible, to seal as efficient as possible. But in the end, the complexity kills the runnability of the machine. So I think we need to think more holistically. And I'm really with Dagmar, without sacrificing even on the consumer experience. Because your example, HDPE or polypropylene, consumer doesn't care. It doesn't make a difference. It's only a supply chain, a procurement issue, technology issue.
And I found your aspect also very interesting about the barriers, about the layers. I mean, if we can reduce them, it will help in the recycling area for sure, right? So what we see, we have to talk more together, the whole supply chain, to see what the next in the supply chain is needing. And that's also the reason, right? We founded the Forum Recyclad. I don't know who knows it here, because we found out this was in 2019 when Ellen MacArthur Foundation showed up the pictures, plastic in the sea. I think everybody of us can remember. And we asked all the shower gel producers, okay, why don't you use more recycled material? in the bottles, then it wouldn't be in the sea. And nobody had an answer. And we said, okay, let's start a project. And nowadays it's called a Forum Recyclat. We have around 80 companies on the table, and we are working together to communicate, to discuss all these topics. So feel invited also to have a look on this Forum Recyclat, because I think we need good heads to foster the circular economy further.
Olaf Clemens, how often do sustainability-driven packaging ideas fail? Not because of the idea itself, but because they're too complex to run in production?
Yeah, we are on the way there. Yeah? What we are seeing is more the number of changeovers. Yeah.
Okay.
And the number of product changes, and in our case also size changes of any packages. Yeah. So we're losing quite a number of production time and OEE over this, with cleaning here and there. Yeah. And
but what does it need to close the gap, to change it?
yeah, I believe with all the contours, all the different things, we are trying to put again so much more technology in. If we reduce it more to certain standards, then of course I believe it's not really a topic from the machine, make it happen, and also controllable happen.
Okay.
So I can try also from my point of view here to give an answer. So what definitely helps is when you integrate technology into a packaging machine, you need to do your homework in the beginning of the project, the complete homework. And this is sometimes a big challenge, because we want to be fast and we need to be fast, but the homework is crucial. And second is close communication, trust. Yeah, we need to understand the drivers behind all the different players in a project. But if we join forces, if we have transparency based on trust, there's so much more possible. We have seen it just in the recent years. It makes a huge difference, and it feels much better.
To step there in, so we are working quite closely together on our packaging stuff. Yeah, and
also with Hermann Ultraschall, right?
Yeah, especially with Hermann. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And what is, we have a customer, we have a product or a material supplier, like a film supplier, us as a machine, you as a sealing technology.
Yeah.
And we do not know exactly with what we are going to deal, because the customer also do not know it. So, and then we have to prepare the technology that it works like it should work, but we do not know which material we have to work on, what the behavior is. And there must grow a better understanding that early from the beginning, we have to connect ourselves in the complete chain from really the raw products to the customer, that we bring it together, and then you have a much easier start there and much more success.
Robert, how does a truly no-headache production environment look like in your eyes? A truly no-headache environment.
Yeah, truly no-headache environment can only be established by this kind of collaboration.
That's
doing the homework in the beginning,
yeah.
Having the business case under control from the beginning. So this is also part of this homework. And at the end, the operators in the plant.
Yeah.
The operators in the plant, it's crucial for them that the machine is just a turnkey. You have to switch it on in the morning, and it just runs without a lot of waste. We should be able to together utilize technology completely to avoid waste, food waste, reduce energy consumption, so reduce our CO2 footprint, increase the speed, increase the throughput, because everything at the end needs to pay into the business case. We need to have positive business cases.
Okay. Thomas Reiner, what will differentiate companies? Is it more technology, better usability, the service points? What do you think?
Yeah, I would, if I just build on the discussion we had before, and then I come back to your question. We started with a little statement, engineers like to engineer, so they over-engineer. The engineers are not the problem. If you give them an unsolved task, they're happy to find an answer. And it's unbelievable what their ability is to solve problems. But we need to give them a right brief, and we need to have a holistic approach. So for machinery company, they'll be happy. Technology providers will be happy if they have an end-to-end brief, if they have all the parties on the table. if the task is put and briefed in the right direction. If we try to optimize runnability for any material on a machine, it's different than we say we have a set of materials, it's going to be monopolypropylene, whatever it is, and we need to make it sealable in this speed, we'll find the answer. But it's two different goals. One is just to optimize the cost on the machine for any material.
Yeah.
The other one says recyclability and holistic picture.
Yeah.
So German engineering, Italian engineering is not going to be the problem. And you see when you deal with companies like Hermann Ultraschall, you see the brains behind this. So coming back to your question, what will make them successful?
No, what will differentiate companies?
In the end, differentiation will be the key of the success.
You are right.
Two angles to the same point.
Yeah.
Yes, offering solutions, profound understanding of material, mind, and machine, and an attractive service portfolio in this area. But I tell you, the DNA of those companies is perfect to find the answers. The briefings are the problem.
Great. But Dagmar Glatz, who is in your eyes, who's ultimately responsible for making automation and packaging production manageable? Is it the operator, the supplier, or both? When you think about all this value chain.
Well, if you're looking to PPVR, the producer, so for the DM brands, for example, we are the producer, we get more and more responsibility.
Yeah.
And of course, we don't have the knowledge in-house. That is what we have to admit at this moment, and we will not get the knowledge. It also makes no sense that we get the knowledge. So I think also maybe the policymaker wanted to have something which was a little bit too much in my opinion. But anyway, we see with circular economy, it only works when the whole supply chain is working together, is collaborating, and there is no one single person or one in the supply chain who has the total responsibility. We are all together, and we have to work together.
Yes, but what is, let's say, the biggest bottleneck in this whole process?
Well, at the moment, I would say that if I'm looking at circular economy, that some targets are coming too late. For example, the recycled material content, it would have been better if it would have come earlier, especially for some packaging types like bottles. That would have been possible, and also the recyclability goals are just set for 2030. That's also too late. On the other hand, we have the conformity, which we should have in August, and that's not a problem. That's one bottleneck because we don't have all the data, as we are fast enough in the digitalization. And I think that's a really big pain point right now in the whole supply chain in the packaging industry.
Talking about pain points, Olaf Clemens, talking about the PPWR, what's your perspective on this regulation topic?
It's difficult, so of course we as machine builder, we are not working only in Germany or Europe, we are globally. And even in Europe, we see different rules of what is called recyclable or what is the case, and it's all money driven. Who would like to move a little bit ahead with the older materials, but saving a little bit money and so on. And then we have to run so many different technologies parallel to each other. Even with the same company operating in Europe or in Africa, these are completely two different worlds. And finally, also two different applications in detail in the equipment. So it feels very difficult to standardize then.
But how do you handle this? I think that's an interesting point.
Yeah, it's complex. If you try to adapt technology, what we are using on the highest end here in Europe, or especially in Germany, and try to adapt it only into the US, it's very often not to handle because the costs are sometimes so much higher, or they say, we do not like it, we do not want it, make it like you had it or a year ago, or keep it. So you run different different kinds parallel to each other. And that is for you guys exactly the same with film structures and so on. They have also to develop the new stuff so that we can, in best case, work both worlds at the same time.
Robert, what's your perspective?
Yes. So to circular economy, we all know there's no alternative because we only have to watch Mother Nature. Yeah. So circularity is key if you think on the long run, and so the way that we have to go, and I fully agree to Dagmar here, is collaboration.
Yeah.
And the collaboration needs to start on the requirement engineering. We have too many free radicals from a historic point of view. We need to join forces. We need to start to talk much more to each other, do the requirements, to lower the requirements or standardize the requirements. This is for me the entry point. And from there, then we can take it forward and we can create or make a difference as an industry, even also in Europe. So we could make a difference as a European industry and show the world how to make a circular economy feasible also from an economic point of view.
Thomas Reiner, you are very, very well connected in the whole packaging world. So what are your impressions, especially here from Interpack 2026 on this point?
Personally,
Yeah.
I think this is not a European thing. This is not a PPWR thing. We are talking about two key things we focus on. One is circularity, to be responsible with resources and waste. And the other thing is have a clear opinion on optimizing the climate impact that we have. And we know that both in many cases go hand in hand. Good circularity also helps with the climate impact. I think one of the challenges that we see is that there is no roadmap to the targets that we have. So it's like magic. In 2030, everything will be different. But what on the way? And we need 10 to 12 million tons of PCR in Europe. We have only half of the capacity, and we lost 1 million tons in the last 2 years. We had more than 50 bankruptcies of plastic recyclers in the last 12 months that we had. This is a disaster. So there needs to be something that makes it meaningful today, in the next year, in the year to come. So the headline for me is extended product responsibility. We need to recalculate what we calculate today. We cannot just see material costs and efficiency on the line. And in this respect, EPR systems, we see them everywhere. Even America, when we see the politics by Donald Trump, you see in the States, you see more activity on EPR systems than we've ever seen before. By the way, the same in the first period of Mr. Trump. More than half of the states have specific EPR systems. In Asia, we see EPR systems arising everywhere. And yes, things are complicated, and we can think, how do we optimize the recyclability? But there's simple logics. Monomaterial is going to be easier to recycle than composite. It's not more complicated than this. So we need to stick to the simple logics and get our heads together. And then we may have to change technology. We may have no contact sealing. We may have to go to ultraschall sealing technology. And then we find out we have even a higher reliability, and the seals often look even better than before. But we need a framework and a roadmap to move this direction.
Looking at our topic today, I like the fact that you talk about Mr. Trump. When we talk about when things get complicated, how do you stay in control? I think that's a perfect fit for Mr. Trump. But how do you look, Dagmar Klatz, at all these complications, and how can a company like DM handle it in the whole value chain, right? How do you stay in control?
Just when we have the data.
Okay.
So data are key, otherwise it will not work. We have around about 400 suppliers.
Yeah.
And we have round about right today 10,000 products in the market. So that's a lot. And we need the data. That's the reason why we are fostering so much digitalization.
Can I build on this for a second? If I step in, the digital transformation and sustainability are the two things we need to find answers. And if you investigate the two things, both will lead to transparency and standardization. Because the system we run today, even though we don't believe, it's highly inefficient. If we take complexity out, it will not just improve recyclability, it will also increase efficiency on our system today. It can't make sense. Going back to my example again, this is not just a complexity we have on the supplier side. DM is dealing with the same complexity on the procurement side, and everyone else does. So both things that we follow up on digital transformation, data and handling data on sustainability will lead to transparency, it will lead to standardization, less complexity, more efficiency, and more reasonable solutions.
Yeah, and I think this could be a point for the ultrasonic welding solution, Robert, right?
Yes. So what I see is that we do have a responsibility.
Yeah.
So we are very open. We are very open as an organization to listen, to learn.
Yeah.
We have a lot of questions in our heart. So if more doors would open, would open for us to learn and understand the dynamics, we are willing to contribute from our side to provide the right technology, the right solutions, to be easy integrated into packaging machines, to support the definition of more standards, because that's at the end which will make a difference.
Yeah. As Michael Augenstein already pointed out on Friday, you're open for communication and collaboration.
Yes.
Yes, of course.
I would like to say a little bit about the data. Yeah, I agree to 100% data, but we have a big problem in sharing data with each other. Big problems that we look online into productions, what is really happening there, and these doors are pretty much nailed, and closed, and for a good reason in some cases, But if we are not sharing these data, then we cannot participate from each other, and there we have to rethink our way or what we are doing there, and what is probably a solution for this. Exchanging only these data which are really necessary to improve these processes.
Okay. Is this also, let's say, the biggest challenge when dealing with complex, highly automated systems, the databases?
Yeah, we need a lot of in online,
Okay.
in real time, or not that what was happened 4 weeks ago or so. So to look inside, and with that, what we can analyze on our part of the business, that we monitor it and react in real time on it. If we are looking only over the shoulder into the past, that's not good enough. But we all know how critical is it to connect an outside server with your production server, and the trust what you need to have that nothing goes into the wrong direction, and also the impact. And there we are coming to the next one, Cyber Resilience Act. We all talk about this, and there we are also in a critical way to make production machines safe for doing this exactly.
Robert, how important is it to rethink automation, maybe not as a product, but as a service-driven system?
That's a very good question. I would like to reflect on what Olaf said. So for me, the question is, how can we, what needs to be done? What are the steps that we need to take that we can build that trust? Because what we are all looking into to have this complete understanding of the data, having the chance to analyze the results from that data, and then being able to optimize the production again to improve the business case. We need that trust. And what I can also say from my 18 years observation in the industry, it's very conservative, coming from the history. It's opening up now, step by step, even big ones. Interestingly, I can observe in the past 2-3 years, there's an opening up dynamic. And I would appreciate if this could be continued and strengthened. And by the way, we do have a responsibility. So we are the industry. We are the ones who make it happen. So it's either services or a service a consultancy, or being a retailer or machine manufacturer or technology provider. We all together have the responsibility to make the difference, to shape the future for a better world.
Thomas Reuner, are we building systems that are too complex, or are we expecting too much from the people operating them?
This is a step change in the discussion.
That's the last aspect I want to bring in.
Personally, we need to make our solutions manageable. But it cannot be the answer to simplify We need to have something that solves the problem, and then we make sure that whoever runs the machine will be supported as much as possible so they can do it. That closes the loop to your data discussion again. A machinery supplier, a technology supplier can help a lot if they see what really happens on the line, what the problem is. Is it the person? Did they change something? The configuration, how they run the line? So again, we have two dynamics, like with the recycled materials, that go opposite way. Technology gets more demanding, and the people on the lines have less and less skills. And the only answer is to make sure that we use automation, digitalization to support as much as possible, because the people are not going to get smarter. It's not going to happen. I wish so. I would wish so for my kids, that they get smarter. I would wish so for all the people, that we have numerous, well equipped and educated people. But it's not the case. But I'm sure the machinery companies find the answers to this. If we set the stage, no, but if you have the transparency, we will. We will make sure that the promises we make on the technology will be delivered if we have full access. And then we'll be able to give the people everything they need to make it happen, not in a day. Let me comment on another problem that we have. Of course, we have a high volatility. Markets are under stress, sales go down, consumption goes down, and we have so much short thinking. But anything we discuss, we need less talking, we need more walking. We need projects, we need people, we need to work on those topics. They're not going to happen overnight. It's not going to be that 2030 is going to be the magic year when we can install everything we need. It needs to be installed today. The projects need to be operated today. This is what concerns me most. We're running in circles in the discussions we have, instead of finding the technical answers and then optimizing it and then making it feasible for the people that run the machines. So more walking, less talking.
Okay. But who can be the key player here in this aspect? Where do you address this question?
Well, we know that the transformation that we have when it comes to sustainability needs regulation. And we need to be honest as an industry. We had decades and we didn't improve as we should have. So regulation drives the change, and regulation needs to be more pragmatic. It needs to be more intangible, and it needs to have a roadmap. We have overstressed the regulation. We are far too complex. We move back and forth with the regulation that we get. If we get a firm frame, if we see value in the next year and the year afterwards until 2030, I think we can build up the speed that we need. So yeah, I didn't want to blame the politicians, but in this case, we need the regulation, but we need it simple, clear, and straight, and we need it functioning all the next 5 years and not in 5 years.
No more words needed. The focus today was on the questions when things get complicated. How do you stay in control? Dagmar Kletz, what is your personal control mechanism? What helps you stay in control?
Well, having each day more and more data.
Olaf Clemens, what helps you to stay in control?
Of course, the data is there, yeah, but I'm with you. Yeah, we as machine builders, we have to find the solutions that there where we have customers which have 100% turnover in people in only 1 year. We cannot depend on these operators, on these people there. We have to make it happen, and that is our job and our mission for the future.
Okay.
Yeah.
Robert, what is usually the first warning sign that you are losing control?
Losing control. So losing control is you can see it when you deviate, when you lose focus, when you see that energy and resources are invested into a direction which is not promising, yeah, and people are watching it but not taking action, yeah. And so that's why we are so keen as a whole team on a global scale to put ourselves more in the shoes of our customers, to understand the customer's environment, ideally even better than the customer itself does it, and then come with the right solutions, with the right proposals, and help. So have a value add for the industry, for the customer. That's our aim.
Thomas Reiner, when are you losing control? I even can't imagine.
Well, actually, every day. I'm the father of 8 kids, so there's continuous loss of control. But we're learning to manage. let me say something to put everything in a different perspective. When I talk about my 8 kids, I'm any minute expecting my 9th grandchild. When we talk about sustainability and regulation, I think we shouldn't forget that we talk about environmental challenges we are facing. Sometimes we are so caught in our discussions that we forget the urgency of those topics. I think I'm now in my 36th year of consulting and working for the industry.
Yeah.
And the starting year that we had an issue with waste disposal in Germany. We started Klaus Töpfer to have a circular environment, circular economy idea. And we were facing all the key climate topics and everything else. What has changed in those 36 years? The urgency has changed. And we see this, we're running out of time.
Yeah.
Short term, it's an expensive thing. Midterm, it's unavoidable find the answers because we'll not be able to finance the challenges. And this is not going to be for the grandchildren. This is going to be for our children. And even we ourselves going to face it in all areas in the world. And we need to keep in mind, why do we do this? This is because the challenges are real, they're serious, and they're directly in front of us.
Yeah.
So I can directly add to that. So from my point of view, it's very clear. We do have a huge responsibility.
Yeah.
So we need more standards. We need more collaboration. We need more trust. And at the end, we need to make it happen. Yeah. And what's on my heart and what really deeply resonates with me, so what will be written about us later on in history books? Have we been able to manage the challenge or not? So I would like to be part of having been able to manage it. Thank you.
Of course. Yeah. Thank you very much, everybody. I think it's clear success is not defined by innovation alone, but by systems that run reliably, efficiently, and under control. Thank you very much, Dagmar Glatz, Olaf Clemens, Robert Huber, and Thomas Reiner for joining us today. Thank you very much for watching the second live Interpack podcast at the booth from Hermann Ultraschall. Thank you very much, and back to Malte. Have a good day. Bye-bye. Super gemacht, Frau Glatz.